Hello, my name is Caroline Kirschner, and this is going to be a brief tutorial about epidemiology. Now, first, what is epidemiology? Well, epidemiology is the study of the causes, patterns, and control of disease. Now, a person who studies epidemiology is considered an epidemiologist, and they are usually health professionals who gather information from either fieldwork or lab work. They interpret their findings and use their acquired knowledge to inform and educate the public about disease. And they also influence public health policy, try to control the spread of diseases, and try to find treatments as well. The origin of epidemiology began with an English physician named John Snow, who lived in London during the cholera epidemic in 1854. And no, this is not the Jon Snow from the TV show Game of Thrones. Now, cholera is a bacterial disease that affects the small intestine, causing diarrhea, vomiting, and subsequent dehydration. Cholera is mostly spread by food and water contaminated with this bacteria. Of course, this information was not known in 1854. Regardless, John Snow traced the source of the outbreak to a water pump in Soho by studying the pattern of the spread of the cholera. After removing the handle to the pump, the outbreak is said to have ended. Some other important physicians in the history of epidemiology are Richard Dahl and Austin Bradford Hill. These doctors provided the first statistical evidence linking smoking to lung cancer. Now, the most famous and well-known pandemic is probably the Black Death, which happened during the 14th century. This disease is caused by a bacteria which was commonly carried in rats. A combination of the high infectious rate of the disease and the innumerable rat population caused the deaths of at least 75 million people. The symptoms of this disease were painful, including large blister-like boils near the groin and under the armpits that bled and oozed pus, fever, and also vomiting blood. Death was almost always, death was pretty much the outcome. Next, we have the 1918 H1N1 pandemic. Otherwise known as the Spanish flu, this disease killed more than 50 million people in varying countries. Now, around 1 in 5 people infected died from this disease, and the symptoms included fever, diarrhea, dark spots on your cheeks, and other normal flu-like symptoms. Probably the worst part about this disease is that those afflicted would suffocate from their lungs filling up with blood. Given the recent events, I could not discuss disease outbreaks without talking about Ebola. Ground zero for the 2014-2015 epidemic is reported to be a small village in Guinea, West Africa. Locals here spoke of a tree riddled with bats that existed just outside their village. Bats are the alleged carriers of the Ebola virus, and it is suspected that a small child here was the first to be infected and killed by the disease. Once a human is infected, the virus spreads through contact with bodily fluids and blood. Ebola spread rapidly across Guinea to Sierra Leone and Liberia. This outbreak is still ongoing in West Africa, and as of now, the death toll due to the virus is estimated to be 11,300 deaths. The symptoms of this virus begins with fever, sore throat, and fatigue, then progress to vomiting, diarrhea, and internal bleeding. This excessive loss of fluids leads to extremely low blood pressure, which in turn finally causes death. An organization that has been aiding the fight against Ebola is the World Health Organization. The World Health Organization coordinates international health programs for the countries of the United Nations. This organization does everything from providing health support and education, to creating medical research agendas, to providing essential leadership needed to effectively contain disease outbreaks. They've been building Ebola response centers, training health workers on the front lines to protect themselves from infection whilst caring for the infected, and collecting data on this deadly disease. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial about epidemiology.